We are back with the finale all-division team, and it is the NFC West. Some stars still remain here in the NFC West, but it's not quite the powerhouse division that it once was, and it all starts with that quarterback. Who will be the signal caller for the NFC West? Coming up on today's Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look into the NFL on the field and in the front office. With elite breakdowns, next-level analysis, and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thank you so much, everyone, for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We love all the everydayers out there. And if you want to become an everydayer, make sure you subscribed up like they are on the new Peacock and Williamson YouTube channel and everywhere you get your podcasts. All right, let's finish this thing up, Matt. We've got the NFC West now. While I'm in my makeshift studio on vacation, you're about to head out with the family on vacation. It's that time of year, and but if I forget,
it's officially the NFL offseason. It's officially the dead period.
The dead period, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So we have a lot of fun
before we get started,
series like this. Yeah, go ahead.
You're not going to lobby for like a 3-minute podcast so we can go on vacation with Aaron Donald and then 21 49ers, are you?
I mean, it's not that far off, to be honest with you, in this division.
It wouldn't be a bad team.
Look, but between the teams in the West, it is a pretty strong group, I think, because there's enough stars at different spots. But again, it's not quite as good as it would have been just a couple of years ago. And some of the careers have taken a turn, and some of the rosters have started to turn over, especially those in Arizona, in Los Angeles, but guys like Aaron Donald, they're still around, and Matthew Stafford is still around. Is he that quarterback that can lead this all-star squad, this all NFC West team in 2023? Are we going in another direction? Because there's guys like Brock Purdy knocking on the door. Maybe it's Trey Lance knocking on the door this year, to be honest with you, with the 49ers, and you can never cross anything off the list as far as what goes on with the 49ers in their quarterback position. It's been just bizarre, but they've gotten some high-level play, and they got some ridiculous level play from Brock Purdy at the end of last year. And then there's Kyler Murray, which I don't know what to think about Kyler Murray. He's going to miss part of the season, but him at the top of his game would probably be the guy. But I don't know if I can put him there over Matthew Stafford right now. And then Geno Smith had the best year of all of them.
That's what I was going to say, is Purdy had that stretch, and I think he was greatly aided by those around him, but you can't take away what he did. And you're convinced that he is the Niners starter, which I think is probably dead on. Geno had the best year of all. Stafford's 1 year removed from winning the Super Bowl and is still really good, but what version are we getting? Kyler's injured, but he's still a scary guy. My vote is Stafford, but boy, that's scary. It's scary.
If Kyler wasn't already going to miss time, because Stafford might miss time and his arm might be shredded and it might be over, who knows? We'll see what that ends up looking like. But if Kyler wasn't already missing time, then I think it'd be easier to plug in Kyler here for the upside over Matthew Stafford. And if Purdy wasn't injured, maybe it'd be easier to put him in here and have that conversation. But right now, I think you just have to put Matthew Stafford in as the quarterback of the West. I agree with you. I have him in pencil, but should I put it in ink, Matt?
I think so. And I bet there's a Seahawk fan saying that you guys didn't watch Geno enough last year. He did play really well, but he seems like he's not in the conversation. I just don't think we can be a superpower with him.
He should be in the conversation more than we put him in there just now.
I know.
But I still wouldn't put him. I wouldn't put him in. Geno was the best quarterback in the division last year.
He was.
And he could be again, but I don't project him to be that. I think if everyone's healthy, I project him to be fourth still, to be honest with you.
Me too. I have some concerns.
Is that disrespectful?
A little, but I agree. I mean, if everybody's right, I think he's 4, and he didn't finish the season super strong. Our team doctors have to have a long sit down with Mr. Stafford, though. I mean, I don't want end of career Roethlisberger, as our quarterback.
Okay, look, you know what? I'm going to make the last argument here for Geno Smith, then, since we haven't given him enough credit yet. He's the only one that we don't have to run through our doctors first before.
I know he's the safest
quarterback spot.
He's the only one that's safe, but I just don't think we can be a mega team versus the other 7 divisions going that route.
All right. It's Matthew Stafford then. Matthew Stafford is our quarterback of the NFC West. And I promise, Matt, I'm not going to be a homer here and try to plug all the 49ers in on this team. But at running back, I think Christian McCaffrey has to be the guy. But I will let you make arguments for other backs if you think someone is deserving in the West.
There isn't any. I mean, he's clearly the guy. I think he would be my number 1 running back, period, no matter what division he were in. Just a little shout out, though. I think Kenneth Walker is a good young player, too, that people are forgetting about because Charbonnet got drafted there. A distant 2 is Walker to me, but it's McCaffrey.
The Seahawks, no matter what happens, are going to have good running back play. And even if Walker goes down and Charbonnet goes down, they're going to be fine with DJ Dallas and Kenny McIntosh, too. Yeah.
And we've done this a little, but if the receivers weren't so good in this division, maybe Walker would be our early down back. McCaffrey would be our 11th guy, our joker, because he can do that so well.
Exactly, but there's some talent at wide receiver, and I do think we're going to go 3 wide in this division. Which 3 will it be is the big question. We've got to build an offensive line too, but first, how about that tight end spot? George Kittle is the highest paid.
Just
of
put
the
a
group.
Niner in.
Look, and again, I'm trying to say it's not just me throwing in all the Niners, but I don't buy an argument for Noah Fant or Tyler Higbee or Zach Ertz or Trey McBride. Name your tight end in the West over George Kittle.
Trey McBride is a very sneaky, dirt cheap dynasty guy to grab now because somebody was going to have to catch passes there. But of course, it's Kittle. Of course.
Okay.
I know who the left tackle is too, by the way.
That's the thing. So, and I think that's why this team ends up being better than the division is as a whole, because there's still so many stars in the division. Even with the Rams that have a few that are just shoe-ins, there's 3 guys that you just can't argue, or at least 2 guys that you can't argue are not going to be in it. And the 49ers have some of those as well. And the 49ers are still the best team top to bottom in this division. And even the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Seahawks have a good team and an up and coming team, but still have some players that are no doubters. And even the Cardinals have one guy later that I'm going to fight for that has to be on this squad. But and actually there's one on the offensive line as well. So looking at the offensive line, let's start with tackle. Trent Williams has been the best offensive tackle, probably the best offensive lineman in the NFL for a little while.
Then I think it gets interesting.
It gets super interesting. So this is a fun conversation, I think, with the offensive line. So looking at tackles, DJ Humphries is an underrated player, I think, around the NFL for being a first-round tackle. People don't really talk about him. He's been playing really well for a long time. But he's the left tackle for the Cardinals. We would have to move him to make room for Trent Williams as our starting left tackle. Do you move Charles Cross, who was the first-rounder for the Seahawks, who played really well last year? Their third-round rookie last year, Abraham Lucas, played really well on the right side. You have Robert Havenstein's been around for a really long time. Kelvin Beachum, Joe Noteboom. How do you like this group? And are we moving players is the question.
I think in this case we have to. Havenstein's been fine, but I like our chances of winning games with either Cross or Humphries on the right side.
Yep.
I would probably lean for Humphries.
Yep, and I was going to say the exact same thing. I'm moving Cross, I'm moving Humphries, and Humphries has played right tackle in the NFL, although it's been a little while for him, and he played even better than Cross did last year too. So to me, he's still playing at a high level, and we've got a bookend of Trent Williams and DJ Humphries in the West.
I can live with it. I like it.
That's do we move somebody?
Ooh, I don't know.
Do we move somebody inside is the question. How do we build the interior of this offensive line? One of the weaknesses probably of this roster. Next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now you can get that no sweat first bet. When you sign up for new customers at FanDuel, the no sweat first bet is up to $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So sign up now at FanDuel and get that $2,500 no sweat first bet. There are great promotions every day at FanDuel. I love the website, the app. They're all so easy to use. You can build your own parlays. And of course, when you win, get paid instantly at FanDuel. No better place to bet all of the action than America's #1 sports book. And ton of NFL bets to be made. You can bet on receiving leaders, passing leaders, rookies of the year, offense and defense, coaches of the year, of course, the next Super Bowl champion. You can bet Major League Baseball all season long, and snooker, motorsports, golf, whatever it is you love to bet on sports wise. And I'm sure NFL is one of those. Tons of NFL bets to be made at FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL.
If you're a snooker master, I think there's a lot of money to be made there. Go hit that.
I gotta feel like you could get an advantage. It's kind of like, Matt, when you and I bet on the NFL draft, and every year I make money on the NFL draft because it's just so easy when, because the betting public, you throw Johnny Manziel as the #3 pick, and I'm just like, there's no way that's going to happen. And he actually went even too high, but there's some of those bets that are really easy when it comes to the draft. I bet if you know snooker and you love snooker, which I do not. In fact,
I don't either.
I don't even know if you played on a normal. I know it's billiard related. Do you play it on a normal billiards table?
I don't think there's pockets. I don't think you shoot it in the hole.
That's the one where there's no pockets.
I think so. But that's something for the off season.
I do want to hear about
transition. How about this transition from Williamson? Speaking of the NFL draft, I think we have to talk about Paris Johnson at guard.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, I did not expect to go there.
Okay.
Today.
I mean, as I look at our lads' depth chart right now, Kelvin Beacham's penciled in at right tackle. DJ Humphries penciled in at left tackle. I think Johnson's going to start his career at guard. And in a very weak interior O-line division, I'm ready to roll with the rookie. And he played guard at Ohio State up until last year. So,
well, how about
give me
this?
Just a talented puppy.
What about this? We have such talented veteran tackles. Do we go with pups at both guards and go with the Rams' first pick, Steve Avila, as the starting right guard?
I was going to make that case as well, except I think Damian Lewis for Seattle is a pretty solid guard. So that's the question to me, is Lewis versus Avila.
I actually like it. I wasn't even considering Paris Johnson just because of the rookie factor, but the college tackle moving back inside. He played numerous positions in his college career. If he doesn't start at right tackle, he could be a very good left guard. So, and that's the place to put a rookie and kind of hide him if we don't have star power on the interior of the offensive line. So there we go. Paris Johnson at left guard. I like that a lot.
That's not cheating because he's going to start his career there. I mean, he's going to play. Jonathan Ogden's first year was at guard. It doesn't mean he's going to stay there forever.
And let us know, Cards fans, there's an opportunity that he might go win the right tackle job maybe in camp, but I think he's getting the first crack at guard. That's the way it sounds like.
They also have Josh Jones, who's a tackle only, so I think he's going to be a guard for at least for this year.
There's some good players here, maybe even some underrated players on the interior in this division. But nobody just jumps out at you. So you can make the argument for, both of the Niners guards, Spencer Burford, who was a starter last year as a rookie, Aaron Banks, the second rounder from 2021, had a solid second season. Logan Bruss was drafted high by there's a couple, actually their first picks in the last two drafts were third rounder Logan Bruss and second rounder Steve Avila. I don't think Bruss played much last year because of his injury though. You got Will Hernandez there, but I think you're right about Damian Lewis being the guy.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. That's what I would do. I think it's Lewis, although I like Avila a lot, and it's going to be a really nice pickup for them. Is Allen our center?
So we have it's not a who's who of names at center right now. There's journeyman Jake Brendel, who got a 4-year contract and played surprisingly well as the starting center for the 49ers last year. So there's Jake Brendel, there's Evan Brown in Seattle. They drafted Oluwatimi in the 5th round. There is Froholt. Hoyt is how you pronounce his first name, I believe, right?
I can't go there.
Holt in Arizona as the center, and then there's the veteran in Brian Allen, who's probably just the best guy of the group, even though he's not anything. He's not a slam dunk pick, but again, with center, it's tough. You're picking from 4 guys, so there's not a star. You're just picking a veteran that's going to snap the ball and not cause problems for you inside.
Yeah, I think this
Brian
is
Allen.
cheating.
He's our center from the Los Angeles Rams.
I think this is cheating because they're both Rams, and Allen's going to play center, and Avila is going to play guard. But Avila is center capable, and I think I'd rather have him out there than Allen. But if the Rams aren't going to do that, I don't think we can do that.
Yep, yeah, I think that's fair.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So how about wide receiver? I
like this group.
We got some superstars here. We got a couple with just about every team here that I think we could consider at this position. So this one will be fun. And I don't think it's gonna be a second tight end. I don't think it's gonna be a second running back as good as Kenneth Walker is making this group. It's gonna be 3 wide receivers on offense for us in the NFC West. So let's run through this with the Los Angeles Rams. You've got Cooper Kupp, you got Van Jefferson, you got Ben Skronik, who played a lot last year, but let's be honest, it's Cooper Kupp of that group that I think has to make this squad. In San Francisco, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk definitely deserve consideration for this squad. You got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with first-round rookie Jackson Smith and Jigba in the conversation from the Seattle Seahawks, and then Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, Greg the Human Dortch, Michael Wilson's their third-round pick this year. I don't know if any of those Cardinals are going to make it, but you have to consider Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to make it.
I mean, if he was in the AFC South, he would have been in consideration, but I can't pick him over the Niners or Seahawk guys. So Kupp is in stone, right?
Yeah, well, going back 2 seasons, Kupp and Deebo Samuel were maybe the 2 best wide receivers in the NFL. They were both ridiculous with what they did for their teams. They were their team's entire offenses in 2021, but they both had
Kupp
weird
won the
seasons
Triple
last
Crown.
year. Right.
Kupp
Kupp,
the Triple Crown. Right.
One of the all-time seasons ever at wide receiver, but he got hurt last year.
And he was awesome before his injury, though, last year, too.
Right, yeah. So
he's got to be in.
Cooper Kupp is in.
Okay. Now we fight.
Ayuk had the better stats for the 49ers last year. Some people call him a better quote-unquote wide receiver, but if you are putting an 11th guy on the team, I think Deebo Samuel is dynamic, can play in the backfield, can play everywhere, slot, outside, wide back stuff. So to me, Deebo Samuel should make it. And then the other outside guy comes from potentially Seattle with DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. And look, when you got a guy who's 6'4", 230 pounds, runs a 4.3 as your X receiver, then you got Cooper Kupp as your Z, move him around, target him heavily, and then Deebo as your third guy in the slot that can move around and do anything everywhere. That's a pretty scary unit.
So I adore Tyler Lockett, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to make the cut. There's just too many other good guys ahead of him. So we agree, I think, that DK Metcalf is one. We're just going to line him up outside the numbers and go be big and do what you do that is rare. I prefer Ayuk to Deebo, but I certainly will defer to you. If this was Deontay versus Pickens, I think you'd defer to me. So you made strong points. I love Ayuk. That's not a knock on Deebo at all, but I think Metcalf and Kupp are out there and a Niner.
If I'm breaking the tie, I'm still going Deebo. I think what he can do is harder to replicate than what Ayuk can do, just being a really good receiver. So that's why I would go with Deebo. But Ayuk, if he got a shot with more targets, which he might happen to get at some point, maybe next offseason could get traded, then, maybe it changes the conversation. But the 49ers tell us he's still the fourth fiddle after Deebo and McCaffrey and George Kittle in that offense. And he has been. Maybe that changes this year. And I wouldn't have a problem with Ayuk on this team. I think Deebo is just different. And hearing Deebo talk about his season last year, he was in the during minicamp. He was talking about how he was out of shape and the whole contract dispute last offseason. He just didn't have a good season. He's like, I was awful. That's not happening this year. So honed in Deebo, I'm excited to see that 2021 version of him. I'm excited to see that 2021 version of Cooper Kupp in this division. So I'm still taking Deebo over Brandon Ayuk.
Okay, put it in. I liked your point there, though, because I wanted to mention that a week ago. I love that Deebo took full responsibility. And it wasn't like he was bad, but he said, I can be better,
Yes, yeah. Next, let's go to the defense, where there are superstars in a lot of places, and this is going to be a defensive line that causes problems for other all-division teams if these teams were to stack up. And then we'll, on future episodes, Matt, we're going to reconvene and have to decide which division had the best all-division team. Maybe even people have been asking for coaches, too. Should we throw some coaches in when we stack up these divisions?
I'm fine with that. We'll see how that goes. Okay. I could go either way on that. That's cool.
We don't have time to add kickers and coaches as we do these rosters for these episodes, but maybe we will throw them in when we rank them all on future episodes. But let's get to that NFC West defense with defensive players of the year all over the place next. Thanks again, everybody, for making Peacock and Williamson your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure you are subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. Okay. I mean, we've got Aaron Donald and we've got Nick Bosa, who are two of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, period. And I don't think you have to have a conversation, even a short one, about those guys. They're in.
They're in. Cool.
The question is,
now we got two more.
Who are the rest of them? The 49ers brought in a stud player that you're familiar with in Javon Hargrave from the Philadelphia Eagles, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers before that. It's going to be hard, I think, to find a better defensive tackle in this division than what, caked up as we've talked about here on the show. Even in Sanford, he's got a bubble. I mean, that is what scouts are looking for. If you're trying to win leverage on the line, that's the bottom half you're looking for in Javon Hargrave. Eric Armstead built very different, but he's been a stud player for the 49ers for a long time inside. But to me, it's Javon Hargrave that gets that other spot at defensive tackle.
I do too. He has to be in the lineup. He's an excellent player in his prime. The money reflects that. So he's in. This fourth guy's a little bit of a projection, a little odd for me, to be honest with you. I think it comes down to two names. Let's see if you differ with me. I want to throw out Taylor from the Seahawks, but I don't think he makes the cut. I think Darrell Taylor has some edge excitement to him. But I think it has to come down to your boy Armstead or Draymond Jones. But neither one's a true edge. You know, they don't look like Nick Bosa.
Right. This is the toughest one, I think. You've got second rounder B.J. Ojulari in Arizona. Could he potentially be that guy? There is Nwosu in Seattle as well. They drafted Boye Mafe, like Derek Hall, back-to-back second rounders in 2022 and 2023. So they've got a collection of guys that are competing there. I think Nwosu had the best statistical edge.
I didn't even consider him, to be honest with you,
in Seattle. And I like Boye Mafe to take a step this year. Derek Hall they drafted, so maybe they don't like Mafe or Nwosu or Taylor. All similarly drafted guys. The second end is hard, and I think and it's not cheating if we were to put Eric Armstead over there, who's played a lot of big end and then moves inside and rushes from the interior, and it would be the stoutest group you could put together if Eric Armstead was there. So I have no problem with that, but again, I'm not trying to be a homer and put all 49ers on this list.
See, I think Draymond Jones is the same argument as Armstead, though. I'm sure Armstead has played a higher percentage of edge snaps than Jones in their career. But Jones has played a lot of 3-4 end. He's lined up over the tackle. I think he's an ascending player, and I don't know that Armstead's a descending player. But I think if we had to pick one guy to add to any team, I would take Jones over Armstead.
You definitely get the tiebreakers in this one. So Draymond Jones, it is. He is our fourth defensive lineman.
I mean, certainly not an edge bender,
West.
type guy. But, right. Right.
We're just
go with them.
We're going to overpower guys in the NFC West here.
Okay.
Linebacker. Fred Warner is one. And,
easily.
I mean, the old head, Bobby Wagner, he had a good season last year. Like, he's still playing at a high level, even though he's getting a little long in the tooth. And, maybe Dre Greenlaw could be in consideration. There's some other linebackers in this division, a couple of first-rounders in Arizona, but I don't think any of them are playing at a higher level than Bobby Wagner is still.
Wow. I was going to vote for Greenlaw.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's just Robin to Warner's Batman. I think he's a tremendous player. I don't think I have to convince you of what he does well. But I really have Warner in stone, of course. Greenlaw, ? Wagner, ? Is what's written down here on my cute little sheet. So I had Greenlaw ahead of him, but I'm very cool with it. Again, that's a 50-50 split.
I think Wagner's still better. What Greenlaw does, especially as an outside linebacker with his athleticism and the way he flies around.
Yeah.
If we're going nickel with two, 2 off-ball backers. He'd be a nice fit there just because of how well he plays in pass coverage. But Bobby Wagner's always been so good at that too. And Bobby Wagner's, and just seeing Wagner with Warner together on the field would be so fun because they know what's happening before it happens, kind of thing, you know. And
it's also I think the changing of the guard. I mean, since Kuechly, Wagner's been the best in the league, and now it's Warner, you know.
And then it's Warner,
I'm fine with it. Wagner's great still.
I want to see him together. And we'll give Greenlaw one more year. And if you are projecting, maybe this is the year that he takes over. Still some ways that Greenlaw could get better and kind of, you know, some boneheaded moves and runs himself out of some plays and some penalties and some things like that he could tighten up a little bit. And we'll see if he continues to ascend. And then next year, there'll be no doubt that Drake Greenlaw is the guy on this list.
Okay. I'm cool with it.
All right. So Bobby Wagner is linebacker 2 with Fred Warner. Now we got to talk secondary, and I want to start with safety because I will fight you if you don't put Budda Baker on this team, man.
I'll fight you if you don't put Budda Baker on this team.
Good. We got to have, and so, yeah, we've got some more Arizona Cardinal representation here, and we've got one on each side of the ball now, so that's a good thing. Could there be some other Cardinals in the secondary? Probably not. They lost Byron Murphy. The Cards portion of this podcast might be done.
Come to a conclusion, yes.
Talanoa Hufanga is, I mean, he got accolades. He played so well last year. If Budda Baker's the free safety, Talanoa Hufanga is the strong safety. That's a pretty strong group. But Quandre Diggs, you know, Jamal Adams, hard to know what he is right now and what he will be. Quandre Diggs, one of the more underrated players probably in the NFL. And I think we've said that a lot when it comes to safeties, just because they just don't, it's just harder. It's harder to scout them. It's harder to know who's good at that position in the NFL. Quandre Diggs is really good. So it's probably Hufanga or Diggs for me to be that second safety in the West.
So we've had to do this a couple times with O-line and secondary in particular, where you got to lump all the positions together. How do we get our best 5 out there? And Jamal Adams, to me, doesn't cut the mustard, but both Seattle safeties are quite strong. So I'm going to skip ahead. Would you fight me on the rookie and the second-year corner as our starting corners in Seattle, Witherspoon and Woolen? I mean, the Rams don't have anybody. The Cards don't have anybody. There's not a Niner you'd put over Witherspoon and Woolen, is there?
I mean, Charvarius Ward was a really good player, and he had kind of some ups and downs, but
Ward versus Witherspoon. Would you rather roll the dice with the rookie?
I'd roll the dice with what Witherspoon could be, and we're projecting that out. But yeah, I have no problem with that.
So then my next question for you then is, as your 5th guy, I don't even care what position he lines up more than ever, would it be Ward or Diggs? Because I think Hufanga and Baker are our starting safeties.
Well, I just want to say one thing here before we figure out who the 5th and final member of our secondary is and the final player on our All-NFC West team. Can we just hold on a second and appreciate the absurdity of the names that are in the secondary for the Los Angeles Rams now?
Oh my Lord. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna read off these names. You tell me who's a real player and who's not. Russ Yeast, Jordan Fuller, Quentin Lake, Jason Taylor II, not that Jason Taylor.
We've got the Hall of Famer, yeah.
Right. Quindell Johnson is one of the names there in the secondary, and that's just the safeties. Like Russ Yeast is an all-time name, by the way. I love that one. He's going to be a starter. They got 6th and 7th round, guys in the last couple of drafts that are going to be starting there for them in the secondary. And then at corner, you've got Darian Kendrick and Robert Rochelle and Sean Jolly and Tim Marcus Davis, not Marcus, Tim Marcus Davis. You've got Jordan Jones, Tyon Davis, Cameron McCutcheon, Vincent Gray. I mean, I wouldn't know any of those guys if I saw them.
The only guy I know, I'm looking at the depth chart too, and you didn't make up any of those names. They're real human beings.
Those are all real names, by the way. Yeah, I didn't throw any fake ones.
The only ones I kind of knew were Jordan Fuller, Darian Kendrick, because he got in a lot of trouble with Georgia, and LT's nephew, the rookie. Hodges Tomlinson's in there, but none of them are necessarily good. And I kind of knew Robert Rochelle too.
Yeah, Robert Rochelle and Darian Kendrick, the starting corners most likely for them are names that I've at least seen on paper. But again, I wouldn't know them if I passed them on the street.
No, they're all so young, though. I mean, there's rookies all over the depth chart and second-year guys all over the depth chart, and none of them are like day 1 or day 2 picks. That's the whole defense.
So, again, going back to our secondary, Hufanga strong safety, Diggs as the 5th extra DB, and then
Buddha's
Witherspoon.
Yeah.
So then Buddha would probably be the guy who drops into the nickel in those situations, and then Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen on the outside.
That's my vote. I think we agree.
I like it. I'm in.
Okay. Pretty good.
Let's do it.
Pretty
good group.
Yeah, D is strong.
The West is strong.
West is strong. Yeah. I don't love
some things have to go right.
Non-both. Yeah.
And
that too. Interior lines questionable.
Well, look, if some interior line questions, but that's the place you might want to have questions, because at least we have 3 guys that can play there. And you're not going to be, completely in trouble probably if you're building a super team. So depending on how things go at quarterback for the West, they could be one of the best still some stars in this division versus the other all division teams. But we did miss an opportunity, Matt, to put in the next great dynastic 49ers quarterback in Brock Purdy. But we have other years to do this. Yeah. Or Trey Lance or the next Geno Smith and Sam Darnold.
But 2 rookies on the squad. We got Witherspoon and Johnson. First time that's ever happened. Yep.
First
2
double rookie team, and I think only the 3rd and 4th rookies of the entire series of all division teams.
I think you might be right. Bijan was 1, and Kincaid was 1. There might be another out there, but you're definitely under 6.
All right. Let us know at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL, how we did, where you disagree, where you agree. And of course, make sure you are subscribed up on the new Peacock and Williamson YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. And we will say goodbye to Matt Williamson until after his vacation. I will be back later this week. Get your mailbag questions in as well on Twitter and on the YouTube comments. Matt and I will talk to you next time right here, Peacock and Williamson.